What's up, guys? Welcome back. Before we get started, please take a quick second to hit the subscribe button. I'll be dropping recipes like this each and every week. Here we have a rack of St. Louis style spare ribs. I'm going to go ahead and trim these bad boys up with my sharp knife. I like to trim the ends off because they're super thin. A lot of times there's no bone there either, and the thin side tends to burn up during the cooking process. So go ahead and remove it if you want. And then trim up any excess cartilage or fat and just make sure they're nice and clean. We're also going to remove that membrane. The reason for this is the membrane does not render during the cooking process and it tends to be a bit chewy, so I like to remove it. Get under there with a butter knife and then grab a paper towel for grip and just rip it right off. Continue trimming until your heart is content. And now it's time to season. We're using yellow mustard as a binder. This doesn't really do much for flavor, but it does allow your rub to adhere to the meat, which creates a beautiful bark. I like to season my ribs in 3 layers, starting with all-purpose seasoning, a sweet rub, and then a spicy rub. The all-purpose seasoning consists of salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder, and then you can use whatever your favorite barbecue seasoning is after that. Make sure the ribs are coated nicely and pat the rub down. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Again, 3 layers of flavor. Make sure you get the edges. And you're gonna want this to sit out for about 30 minutes before you put them on the grill or in the oven. Today I'm using my Traeger Pro 780, but you can pop these in the oven as well. I like to cook ribs at 250 degrees. They're gonna be on the smoker for about 2 hours or so, and then we're going to wrap them in foil here in a few minutes. I basically use a variation of the 3-2-1 method, which basically means 3 hours on the smoker, 2 hours wrapped in foil, and then 1 hour again on the smoker. However, the times need to be adjusted depending on the temperature that you're cooking and how thick your ribs are. If you notice any bald spots, go ahead and re-season. I do the rub test to know when it's time to wrap. If you can rub your finger across the ribs and none of the seasoning comes off, you know they're about ready to wrap. This is the point where the recipe gets super healthy. We're adding a few pads of butter, about 3 handfuls of brown sugar, give or take. And then we're going in with a nice coating of honey, followed by a little bit of beer. The beer is going to help the ribs steam. Make sure you taste as you go. Oops. Wrap these bad boys up. Again, that beer is going to help the ribs steam a bit, which is going to help them tenderize. After about an hour, hour and 15, I'm probing the ribs. I'm not really checking for a temperature. What you're really looking for is some pullback on the bones, as you see here. And then you want your probe to slide in and out of the meat like a hot knife through butter. Once you can feel the tenderness, they're ready to come off. We also look at the bend test. If the ribs bend on their own but do not break, they're ready. So now we're going to throw them back on just for a few minutes to get a little bit more color and give us some time to warm up our barbecue sauce. This is my favorite barbecue sauce. Feel free to use whatever your favorite is. You do want to warm it up though before you put it on the ribs, otherwise it'll decrease the temperature of the ribs significantly if you go putting cold barbecue sauce on your ribs. This is what they look like after another few minutes. We're going to go ahead and brush them with that warm barbecue sauce and then give them about 20 minutes or so for that sauce to set. This is a really important step because that barbecue sauce has obviously a ton of sugar, and as the sugar begins to caramelize, it really develops a beautiful tackiness, and you can kind of see that here in the video. Now it's time for the fun part. We're going to go ahead and slice these bad boys and try not to burn ourselves. I'm going to give you guys a trademark money shot or two. This was my favorite rack by far. Just perfect in symmetry. Slice them up however you like. And then it is time to eat. My graphic designer Cordell is doing the taste test. I'll let you guys decide if they were good or not.
So damn tender.
There you have it, folks. That's my recipe for smoked spare ribs. Please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And as always, thank you for your support.